Hello and welcome back to Spekd. Today I'm bringing you Warhammer Conquest issue number 31 and also the blessings from Nurgle that you can hear in my voice. So let's get this opened up and we'll have a look. So we have our brush here, and again it's a standard Citadel brush, but a brush is a brush, and if you've had the subscription you would have lots of these already. Try and keep the little tips protected. If you can get your hands on some brush soap, that will save you your brush. And if you haven't had a subscription, then this might be the first time you're getting this brush. I can't actually remember honestly, but any brushes you get is fantastic. We have more Death Guard green, which I will probably use this for terrain, since I have so much of it now. And Celestial grey, we're going to be using this more than likely for the apothecary if I remember, but this will be for future issues. That's great. Let's move on. So we have our typical villain colours here, our purple and greens, which always works really well. And we're going to be looking at Rebute Guilliman, which is the Primarch of the Ultramarines, looking at Plague Legions and painting the Celestial Grey. And there's something I did notice when I flipped this over. Look at that, the prices. So you have Australia prices and New Zealand prices. Is it that when we see the US prices, we know that you've got that in the States? Well, we'll soon see. So let's start up. We have our usual sections there. No build information, because clearly we're not building anything. We have a striking piece of artwork there, and a little bit of history about Rebute Guilliman. And there's so much kind of information on lore and history, it's well worth having a look at that. And again, a lovely piece of artwork. I really love the way that they do these. It gives it so much character, even though it's just penciled out. I mean, they could just put that in here with everyone. I would love it. All the Primarchs, it would look great. Anyway, talking of lore, there's a bit of information here. It's only small. The more that you read about this, the background, it kind of improves the work that you do and improves your hobby. And I tend to find that putting on like an audio book or just kind of like reading a book alongside from Black Library, you can grab them. It just kind of gives the characters more detail, more interest, and I find myself picking out little details and models that's going just to represent the story. It's almost how I do my narrative bases. But there's a channel that I'm listening to at the moment called Wolf Lord Rowe. Sorry, totally messed that up. And he does interactions with Primarchs, and it's not often it happens, but when it does, it's actually quite interesting. I'll put a link there, and you could just put that on the background and have a little listen for hobby time. It's really nice. So we've got some more lore and history here. Talking of lore and history, and this is the Conquest Heresy, and this is effectively the campaign that you're playing for this edition. So we're speaking about from here. Guilliman Awakens. So he was put into stasis due to massive injury, and if you just started playing 8th, this is where the game stems from. But you can see that it's had a history before that, and these are pretty much the previous editions of the game. Okay, Dark Angels. Here we have an iconic image. When I think of Dark Angels, it's the only image that comes to mind, and this is on their codex. So when you go out looking for it, you can find it. These guys are very secretive, remind me very much of the Inquisition. Not the Imperium Inquisition, but the kind of old Spanish Inquisition. They find heresy and destroy it. So I think these guys were the first Legion. Their Primarch, Lionel Johnson, is going through some turbulent times. I'll leave it as that. That's really nice to see. Nice piece of artwork. If you have a look at any of the buildings of the Imperium, they normally have these this character on it. Enough said. I've never seen it before kind of painted up in colours because I don't actually have the codex. So I might actually, well, when it comes to my buildings and terrain, if we do get this, then I think I might actually paint it up as that. That'd be interesting. So we have our tactical marking, our company markings, and our battlefield roles. Now, this is normally supplied, if you've seen these models, you're like, or you've seen somebody else's models, you're like, where do those come from if you're new to the Conquest or you've started collecting from Conquest? they haven't hand painted those on in most cases. It's actually transfer sheets, like little decals that you put in mortar, you leaf a little bit and then you put on the model, and then just use a little bit of kind of clear glue to hold it down or whatever you're using. It's a bit unusual that they haven't supplied these, but I suppose it prevents people from having to either be just the Ultramarines or, you know, anything that they've kind of been forced into. So you can go out and get these. I mean, but normally when you buy any form of Marines, you can tend to get Ultramarines as standard transfers. So I have a whole stack of these doing nothing. I might use them, I might not. I don't think I ever will. But they always say never. Plague Legions of Nurgle. So we have the Dream Made Manifest Reality from the Rift, and this is the Chaos Demons, but specifically the ones to do with Plague. Now, we don't really focus too much on these models in the Conquest itself because we don't get demon models. We just get the legions which have been infected, which is the Death Guard company. If you were out and about and you saw these, you could actually run them alongside your army, because this is the so-called sponsor of the Death Guard army. So it's well worth having a little look. And then we have the breakdown of the different types of legions and the hordes we've got there, which is actually pretty cool. It actually tells you how they're done. So it talks about plague drone packs and nurglings and what have you. So if you're more into the demon sides, this is for you. Or if you're mix and matching, that's all good. So we've got our paints there. We're looking at our Celestial Grey, where to add that. I mean, as you see now, I've already painted these up. But it's worth always taking notes. And if there's anywhere else you want to highlight, just feel free. I don't see there being a problem. We've got our Redemptor back there. We haven't seen that for ages. But they're focusing on the lights, which I don't think is too bad. Got our Rakar Flesh. I think that's a bit unusual because we've come across these before. Okay, so what it was is the previous section, or maybe when it came up to Rakar Flesh and Earthshade, when we had those two colours to utilise, the section for painting was way too big, so now they've come back to it because it is focusing on the Death Guard section now. Yeah, okay, so it's come back to deal with those things because and when they initially released the colour, it wasn't there, these models, so to speak. So I think that's why they're going back for it. Okay, continue there, we can see our layout, our pictures. It's always worth having a little look. I mean, you can always go online and see what these look like in advance if you already have the paints. But you can see there, Liquid Talent, the washes. It's brought out that detail. Just don't forget to use it. Okay, so just going through all that there, not bad. Yeah, I would have, well, I've done mine differently, but you've got different colours, just change the colours of their trousers, just give them a little variation at least. It just makes it look a bit better. Alright, rules and missions continuing. Now something I've actually done is started to play through these missions. Someone mentioned before, when I said one of the missions was just obvious, the end result, and they questioned, was it? And I just had to go back. I believe it was Peter that mentioned that. So I went back, I had a look, and I started to think like, okay, it's actually balanced, because you've got a first set of rules and then you have the replay rules, and the replay rules have like more value in them, in the sense of they activate more weapons or they give you like one or two little more advanced things, and if you play it as per the magazine, it's really entertaining. You never know, one day I might actually do a playthrough on these missions. Okay, see, there we go. I was talking about changing the colour of the trousers just to make that variation. You can see it there in their Poxwalkers, how that little bit of difference just makes it come out so much. But that's almost like a collection of the models you've got so far. It's a nice piece of work. I always love the way that they do the lighting there for the contrast. Okay, so the story has moved forward. We just hit issue 30. Mission here is seizing the city. So what we have here, 2 units of 3 Plague Marines, 2 units of 6 Poxwalkers, Malefic Blighthauler, Tainted Cohort, Lord Felthius. Space Marines, we have 2 units, 3 Intercessors, 2 interceptors, 3 aggressors, lieutenant and captain. Okay, see, that's a fairly even battle, even though it doesn't look it. By the time you got that tainted cohort in there, you know, it could get real quick. And disgustingly resilient is a pain in the butt. You got victory conditions, layouts, and objectives. Don't forget, in the previous one of the previous issues, you actually have the layout instructions where to put items. And if not, you could just follow the map and just use the images that they got, which is this map here. Okay, well, that wasn't a bad issue. I feel like we got most of it in the painting area, but is it what it is? So we have our Primaris Apothecary, which is why we got our grey. I do wonder why we haven't yet seen Primaris Tech Marine. I would really like one of those. Maybe they need more time to train the Tech Marines. More terrain. Someone asked me how I actually paint my terrain, so I'll probably do a quick tutorial on this just to show you how I do it. It's sponge painting, it takes no time at all. And then that's it. Well, what do I think? Well, I always need more brushes. Always need more paints, and you know, technically I was going to buy these paints anyway. I've gotten a bit of lore and a bit of history, but as I said before, or just right at the end, this part here, I mean, this is, for me now, I've actually gone through and played these games, this is where another section of like secret value is, because even if you have played 8th edition, even if you do have all of those additional items and bits and pieces, codexes and what have you, this is a narrative battle, and this is very much coming off almost like the Vigilus idea of the narrative. It doesn't have the stratagems and the new detachments. That for those of you in the know, the vets, they'll understand that. For the guys, don't worry about it too much. You can always look into it. But this right here can give you that variation in the story that you want to play, give you that narrative foreplay, so you're not caught up in the same situation over and over again, which can take some of the fun out of it. This is giving you missions, this is giving you something to do, and it's even giving you a battle map and where you should be going next, and how that interacts and the events from that. So it's really good to see. Really good to see. Okay, well, thank you very much. Glad to be back. I thoroughly enjoyed my time. Hopefully you enjoyed your time. Sorry about the weird cough thing. I don't know how I'm going to edit that out, but I will try. This has been Spekd. Take care. See you soon. PC.